Some things are meant to be a coincidence, other things are meant to happen for a reason. You see, Samurai Champloo was never on my watch list, but that changed when a viewer recommended it. But I had my doubts. What if it sucks and I gave you bad news? Turns out, I owe this person an apology. Simply said, Samurai Champloo made me discover something very rare in writing nowadays, and I feel confident saying that modern anime kinda lost it. But before that, the numbers that you saw on the thumbnail are a new rating system that I came up with, because I think a scale from 1 through 10 is too simplistic. From now on, I'm going to use 33 points divided into 3 aspects: the setup, journey, and impact, together with 3 indescribable points that not every anime is going to receive. And that's what 27 represents, because Samurai Champloo is brave enough to leave things unanswered, and it doesn't hold your hand. Instead, it throws you straight into its world. Instantly, 2 samurai are being beheaded in the first minute, and it's only natural that that got my attention. And then you just hear a random hip-hop beat in Edo Japan era. On a deeper level, what hooked me was the way that this anime makes you feel. And it made me feel like I was a part of a journey. I'm watching something unfold naturally instead of following a script set in stone. But it wasn't all perfect, because at first, there was no connection with these characters. 3 totally different personalities mixed together, forming an awkward trio. It was so different that Jin's voice acting felt kinda strange, like it was an amateur doing it. Fu's expressions were looking like they were too much, at least in the beginning. The only natural was Mugen, because he felt very real. And after a few episodes, I understood Jin and Fu more, because she's a teenage girl and Jin was just aura farming, which I can't blame him. And after the introductions, the OSTs just made me immerse into the anime, and I totally forgot about thinking what their backgrounds are and who do they want to be and who they were. The only thing that we knew is a samurai who smells of sunflowers. Does he really exist? That's what I was asking myself the whole time. What if it's just a metaphor for something pointless? Because after each episode finished, most of the side characters were left behind. So in the journey part, those things left me speechless, because the side characters were just throwaways. As a new gen viewer, that's how I looked at it. Every new character they introduced was useless, because we never used them in the future. This happened in my favorite episode. As Jin was walking by the river, he spotted a woman that looked like she was going to end her life. He stops and tells her that it's not a good idea to do so, because he saw right through her. After that, he goes to his part-time job where he meets her once again. Her being confused, she notices as Jin doesn't know how to cook, so she helped him. In this moment, she felt alive, and as business was booming, the day came to an end. So they finally exchanged more words. The next day, she was on the market. Jin brought back her umbrella. In an exchange of words, sorrow was felt. Work called to her, and Jin was sulking. In the meantime, Mugen won some cash in Beetle Sumo, and Jin, all beat up, comes home and asks him, "Can I get that money?" Mugen asks, "Why do you need it?" Jin replied, "I'm going to buy a woman." The woman in question has an abusive husband that's addicted to gambling, so the only option for him was to sell his wife. And as Jin saw that, he planned for her escape. But this time, it was different. She actually believed they can do it. As they were escaping, they were quickly overrun by the guards, and just in time, Fu and Mugen come to the rescue. Jin's love interest is finally free. I thought Jin is going to leave Mugen and Fu, but it turns out that he has to wait for 3 years. And when I finally felt very glad for Jin, in the next episode, we don't hear anything from her. And that's where my expectations were ruined, because I got emotionally invested and didn't get what I wanted. It left me confused. Aren't we supposed to get what we want as viewers? This all changed, and I finally understood Samurai Champloo after watching Mugen getting used by Yatsuha. She was the prettiest woman that you could pay for, because Mugen was willing to play a little bit. You see, Yatsuha promised that she's gonna do crazy things to him if he would kick some ass, and kick ass he did. But he was like me, he didn't get what he wanted. At the end of that episode, I understood it. Because hearing her say that she's going to find him when her journey ends made me feel some type of way, because she said she loves him. But I knew that we're not going to see her ever again. And on the contrary, modern anime would wrap everything around with a neat little bow. And Samurai Champloo didn't do that. I was so confused so many times, but I finally realized and understood there's an opening to use imagination. I can put pieces together and make up my own ending because things are unanswered. There was a constant in this whole anime, and that was Fu getting kidnapped like 4 or 5 times, and I knew she's probably gonna get kidnapped again. In retrospect, I don't mind it that much because you can't do more with 3 characters. But Samurai Champloo is not on demand. You're free to imagine. Back in 2004, you couldn't order food on demand with 3 buttons. You needed to make your own, and this effect can be felt in the writing. This show being older, it gave me freedom to think about things. You have room to breathe. And I took it a step further, asked myself, what if I get a glimpse of the future? Trying to predict it was a bad decision. As we were getting closer to the ending, seeing Sarah fight Mugen and Jin, I didn't like the aftermath. Jin almost died, and that had me worrying, but thankfully, Johnny saved him. My reaction was the same. I love this clip. So putting up the pieces together after the Yatsuha episode, realizing that things just move on, and confirming it with the Sarah episode, I was convinced. My thought process was, who is going to be the only one alive? Mugen and Jin are going to die. This anime is not a joke. You slash or you get slashed. The main characters do take damage. I was ready to curse the person that recommended it to me. It all came collapsing down because I knew something was wrong with this anime. Jin got slashed, Fu was able to see her dad, and Mugen was in a fierce battle. But not everything was lost, because as Fu was about to die, Jin comes back from the dead, recollecting his memories of his master telling him, you can trade your own life for someone else's. In that split second, we see that his enemy has been taken down, but Jin is also not moving. Below, in a desperate attempt, Mugen was caught in the crossfire, seeing the tribesmen again. Losing his conscience, a second of silence was broken. And boy oh boy, was I happy. All of them are alive, but no, they have to kill each other. Thankfully, both of them fall from exhaustion, and a week later, they wake up with the most heartwarming conversation. And I connected with these characters. Jin was telling Mugen he found what he was searching for, and it hit me because as someone as cool as him saying that he finally found friends, it made me want to cry. What was this journey even for, is what Mugen said, as Fu admitted that the coin toss was a lie. The glue that kept both of them sticking around was just a lie. And as they met in the beginning, they disband in the end, with no answers about Shino, Yatsuha, or any of the other people they met on the journey. The only one who got the answers was Fu. She even found out the truth. You're left to wonder, what would happen if there was a season 2? As to why I rate this anime 27 out of 33 is because a story that feels alive because it has room to breathe. You get something that sticks with you after it's over. I grew to like the unanswered. The setup was a solid 7 out of 10. It wasn't the smoothest because I didn't understand the situation, but it still hit hard. The magic was 9 out of 10 because it's all about showing and not telling. The impact it left me with was a 9 out of 10 because it reminded me that sometimes you don't need a clear destination. You just need to take a journey. And additionally, this anime is awarded 2 indescribable points because of all the things that I said. Plus, you can't have a bad ending if you leave it to the viewer's imagination. So with that, how would you rate this anime with my system? And if you enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this one. Find out if they're right.